This world is scary. It's weird. It's joyous. It's beautiful. We have to decide what world we want to live in. We have to make that choice. We can't let, the world choose for us. It's not always pretty, not always dynamic, not always the greatest thing, and yet we have to make those choices. Sometimes we feel like we're trapped in our own world. Sometimes we feel like, that we're handcuffed or chained to certain things because of maybe a home. Maybe it's a job, could be, a relationship, our kids, you know what I mean? Could be, a lot of things. And it may seem like we're just not in a position to make moves to choose our world. Not true. Not true. The secret to the world I lived in was two things. I believed unemphatically, and the thing is, I believe, deeply. I was not, I was unwavering. And the second was my belief in a higher power and, my spiritual grounding. Those two things had me living in a world that, everything was beautiful. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know, any kind of anything else but just happiness and joy. And that's the way I lived, And it's because that, when you feel that way, when you're, bred that way, life is the most beautiful thing you can ever want to live. And, the worst thing that can happen to you is to be waking up from a dream. It's the worst thing that can ever happen. And that's what happened to me. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes it's by accident. Sometimes it's by fate. But when you're waking up from a dream, it changes things. Have you ever tried to recreate a dream? Ever tried to recreate a dream? It's impossible to do. It's impossible to do, yet that's where I find myself. And I'm learning that, that life I lived for so many years, it's not so easy to get back. It's not so easy. That portal, I've been trying to find that portal, go through that door, to take me back to that world. But, it's not that easy because, like I said, you can't just recreate a dream. And so here I am choosing, what world I want to live in. What world do I desire? One thing I've learned about myself is I love walking. I love walking to get me some coffee, man. I love the interaction with the cashier. I love, the exchange when I pass somebody on the street. I just love it, man. I love that background of the dawn, and watching, that sun come up and, reminding me each and every day how beautiful this world can be. Those are the things I love. I love it, man. And I don't like, nights where it's uncertain, where I'm having to watch over my back. Every sound I'm analyzing and things of that nature. That's not the world I want to live in. That's the world of survival. That's the world of surviving, and I don't want to live that world. I don't want to live that world. Now, do we get to choose? Sometimes it's a monetary situation, because in the real world, money can sometimes dictate how we live, where we live, and a lot of things. And so, we have to, make certain choices. And sometimes it seems like we don't have any choice. But yes, we do. At the very least, what we can do, we have to, begin that, process of, changing our dynamics, and it's not me trying to call out anyone else's life or try to dictate how anyone else can change their circumstances. Not at all. It's just that I do believe that we can choose which world we want to live in. I want that world of mornings. I want that world, where I get to see that cashier and say, how's your day going, and have a great day. I choose to want to live in that world. I want to be happy. I want to be joyous. I want to be, blind to anything else going on around me. And unfortunately, was awakened from that dream. So I can't recreate it. But what I can do is create a new dream. And so that's what I'm seeking to do, to create a new dream, to try to push forward and try to make things happen, in the realms of whatever I can do. I can't, make all of the calls. I can't make all of the decisions and they just come to fruition. No, I have to make it happen. I have to push forward. I want this thing that bad. I want those mornings. I want those easy nights, not the kind of nights where, they went so to a point that I'm having nightmares. I don't want to have that. That's not the way I want to live. That's not the life that God brought me here to live. That's not why my parents bore me to live that life, and I don't want that life. I'm choosing the kind of world I want. And is it going to be easy? No. Now we're talking about the fact that some of those things that we feel chained to, sometimes we get ourselves trapped. And I'm free. We're all free. And that's the thing about it. I'm having to really reconcile that within myself, to remind myself that I'm free. Despite whatever it may seem, despite whatever, the situation may be, I'm free. And we're free, and we get to choose to sometimes unlearn those things that's been drummed in our head over and over and over and over again, that we're stuck in our current situation. Sometimes it requires us to unlearn things and, take the junk out of our brains, and it takes time. And then we have to relearn, and open our minds up to something new, to new things, to new growth and new possibilities, and believe that it can happen. And it can happen. It happens every day. And the thing is, we have to make that happen. It's not something that comes in a vacuum. And so I want to choose the world I want to live in. And I'm saying this, and maybe someone listening to this video, looking at this video, may want to choose the world they want to live in. Our world does not get to choose us. We get to choose it. We get to decide which one of those worlds we want to live in. And sometimes it do seem like the dynamics are against us. Seem like, certain things are against us, that we don't get to, call all the shots of certain things. And that's not true. We just been trained to believe certain things. It might be a relationship we may be in. It might feel like we're just locked in. We're locked in. We can't get out. Yeah, we can get out because we're free. We're free. And because of that, we have to first of all recognize that we are free. And once we recognize that we are free, then we recognize too that we get to choose. We get to choose. And I'm making a choice to choose. I'm making a choice to, formulate that dream, create that dream, live that dream. Now, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. We all have a future. I'm looking forward to, those days when I have those mornings. I've had them before, and they were beautiful, man. I'm telling you, every day I woke up, man, it was just the greatest thing on earth. I mean, every day I smiled, man. I felt some type of way because, nobody could take that from me, And when I was awakened from my dream, things changed. And life changed, and everything became a confusion. You know what I mean? Every day, instead of me waking up feeling that joy, feeling that happiness, feeling that excitement, just to walk outside, I was just in a ball of confusion, trying to figure out, what am I going to do today? How am I going to, what am I going to do to make this day productive? How am I going to make this day something that's going to fulfill, that hole inside of us? You know what I mean? That hole that we all have in us, to fill with, the possibilities and, with all the dreams and the visions we have versus all of the dirt and the mud that can be filled in us. You know what I mean? It can happen. It can happen. Everyday life can feel it. Just situations can feel it. Being in wrong scenarios can feel it. We have to choose what we're going to fill that hole with. And I choose to fill it with joy, happiness, and excitement each and every day. And how am I going to do that? Well, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. But I tell you this, I'm not slowing down. I'm speeding up because I want it now. I want it now. I'm impatient and I deserve it now. We'll put our time in. We're worked hard. We're giving it all we have. Every day we try. The things we do, for our children, speaking of, our children can go with us. If we need to make a move and, pick up and change, pull our roots up and change, our dynamics, then our kids can go with us, and they're gonna enjoy watching us, do great things. They're gonna watch us, come to a new, beginning, and they get to enjoy that and get to know too that they are free. They're watching everything that we do. They're watching how we move, the things that, the moves that we make, and so. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a scary thing. It's scary. Anytime you make a move, anytime you make an adjustment in life, it's going to be a scary thing. But sometimes that hard decision is necessary in order for us to be able to choose our world. What world do you want to live in? That's what's important. That's what you have to decide. That's what you have to really conclude because, you've earned it. You put your time in. I put my time in, and we deserve everything that we get. We deserve everything that God has to give. We deserve all of our blessings. We deserve so much more than some of the things that we have. And it's not about material things. It's not about monetary things. It's not about, the things that we have been taught are so important. No, it's about joy and happiness and the things that we appreciate, like me appreciating those mornings. I deserve those mornings and I want those mornings, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get those mornings. They're beautiful to me, and I want the night to be the same thing. I want to see stars. I want to be able to appreciate the stars and sit out at night and just count the stars, you know what I mean? See what they formulate, and sometimes in the afternoon, look at the clouds and see the different shapes they form and smile. I want to see that world, and that's the world I choose. And so that's the world that I'm seeking. That's the world that I strive for each and every day. So we get to choose which world that we live in, and we just have to put forth that effort and get that ball rolling anyway, by any means necessary. By any means necessary. Sometimes we're forced into worlds, and sometimes we're being convinced that this is the world we have to live in. And sometimes we're convinced that these chains that are on us means that we're not free. Sometimes we're not even at the job that we're supposed to be at. Sometimes we're not even in the house we're supposed to be in. Sometimes we're not even in the location we're supposed to be in. Our joy may lie somewhere else. Our happiness may lie somewhere else. But how will we ever know? How will we ever know? We choose our world, and our world does not get to choose us. And unfortunately, that's the situation that has befallen us as human beings. And that can no longer be. It cannot be for me. I can't do it. I can't do it. What's the point of God bringing me here? What's the point of, my parents burying me if I'm going to be anywhere close to any misery? Any misery. There are situations that have occurred when my dream was broken up, to try to stir me, to try to destroy me, to try to bring me down. And yet, you see me consistently fighting. You see me consistently, pushing forward. You see me consistently believing in a future. You see me consistently deciding, how I want that future to go. It's our choice. No one can take that choice from us. And even though there are times when, situations, maybe people, maybe scenarios may have tried to take that choice away, we are the artists of our own pictures. We are, the designers of our own buildings. We are the writers of our own story. It's up to us. We make that decision, and no one else gets that choice. And even though pleasure may have been taken in trying to destroy us or bring us down, it doesn't change the dynamics of who we are. We did not quit, and we don't quit, and we push forward. In fact, we triple our efforts because you done took up a lot of my time. I live life in the seconds, and every time I lose a second, I'm not happy. And when I'm not happy, that's not always a bad thing, because I take that energy and I recycle and I work harder. I push further. I go stronger. I get faster, because you just done kicked in my determination even more. We choose our world, and our world doesn't get to choose us. That's important to know. It's important to realize, it's important to absorb, it's important to make that hard decision as to what world you want to live in. Nothing is more important, because that is the real portal to happiness. I wish I could find that door. I wish I could find that door. I wish I could go back, but that's not reality. Trying to recreate a dream is not reality. So you have to form a new dream. You have to create a new dream, and you have to make sure that you get to that dream so you can start living in it as soon as possible, because time is ticking. Seconds are passing. I don't have that kind of time. I don't think many of us have that kind of time. We have to enjoy as much of life as possible. We have to get as much out of life as possible. It's not, really up for debate. It's one of those things, man. Failure is not an option, right? It's not an option. We don't have options to just throw our lives away or let others dictate our lives or let situations dictate our lives. We choose the world that we want to live in. I'm working on it. I'm pushing, man. I'm working on it hard, man. And you've seen, through some of my videos, all the obstacles that has befallen me, that has been in front of me. Yet, you ain't seen me quit yet. You haven't seen me slow down yet. You ain't seen me give in yet, because I know that there's a better life for me. I know, that there's a better world for me, and I'm going to live it. I'm going to live it. I'm going to have my heaven on earth. You don't have to leave earth to have heaven. And I know this for a fact. And so we get to choose our world, period. Bottom line, there is no options. There are no, flexibilities. We can't leave any kind of wiggle room in that decision. We have to be, just, you know what I mean? You see, that was a deep death for me right there. That was the death of me right there, just the thought of even thinking about leaving any kind of room for anything else. There is no room. There is only determination and just mind made up that I'm going to live in the world I choose to live in. Bottom line. This is the Nobody Show. This is the show guaranteed to get canceled. And this is your boy, The Myth, choosing my world. One love.